Hey, it's UPB here from OptionMillionaires.com. It is now December 10th, 2013. It's a Tuesday. And you see early in the session on Monday, market participants were expecting this pennant, this wedge pattern to break to the upside. We tried and tried. It ultimately fell, but right at the close, we're able to ramp up. You can see this beautiful white candle here, bring us up to the top of it here. So we'll see where we go from here, but it's pretty interesting trading action, considering it was kind of like watching paint dry, aside from some individual stocks making big moves to the upside and the downside. The market, after its initial ramp at the open, just kind of meandered around. We had Tesla, for instance, I brought this up recently, making a big move off its lows. You can see the lows here at about 134. Hitting that 135 level that I talked about as long-term support, and then breaking to the upside. But for the most part, the market kind of mundane. And something I want to bring up, you can see this is the S&P 500 futures, but I want to talk about the VIX, because the VIX is important here. And you can see it just suddenly broke at the end of the session. Somebody was dumping it, okay? And I talked about this numerous times in the past over the last couple of years, how I think that the Federal Reserve has been financing some of the futures contract purchases that have been ramping equities to new all-time highs. And that's been selling volatility, because volatility historically over the last 5 years, especially back in 2009, has been correlated with fear. Ooh, that's why the VIX has been called a fear index, even though not necessarily does it represent fear, represent volatility in the market, the expectation of a move in either direction that is farther away than what the market expects it to move. But in this instance, you can see the sell-off. This implies somebody dumping volatility and probably using the proceeds of the sale to purchase call contracts. And look at this trade we had late in the session. We had a spread, a call spread for the end of December, 130,000 contracts. We also had a similar, and you can look down here, we had a sale and a purchase. Okay, we had a sale of the 187 calls, 130,000 contracts at 11 cents. Net proceeds is 7 cents. This is an $800,000 plus trade for upside for this market. So just something to keep an eye on. You can see it's the largest block of the day. And you can see the market at the end of the session just collapsing, the VIX, and then we had a late day rally. So it's interesting to see. Me from a longer term perspective, and then look at the action we've seen via call options, sentiment, trading sentiment, bullish bearish ratio. It just, to me, I don't know. It seems like nobody is trading for downside these days. Everybody thinks stocks are going to head higher. And I was looking for this head and shoulders pattern, not coming to fruition. But if you look, the VXX as well, beaten down back to new all-time lows just about. And the one curious sign is the bond market. And you see TLT here, and I just pulled this line across, and you can see to me, the target is this level here. And it really defies what you would think would go on when the Federal Reserve is going to taper, which some market participants think is going to happen now, possibly in December, the first quarter of 2014. The taper would imply higher interest rates, because the Federal Reserve, which owns a tremendous percentage of all the treasuries and mortgage-backed securities out there, once they stop buying, well, there's not going to be so many buyers out there. And if you look from a long-term perspective here, TLT, you can almost put in a left shoulder and a right shoulder. Very weak. That's a 60-day chart, and you look from a long-term perspective, have a similar pattern. So to me, this is implying higher interest rates down the road. When and where that happens, I don't know. But right now, actually, bond futures doing quite well. They're well bid, which would imply higher prices for TLT, which closed up 0.25%. And this is the what we've been seeing recently. We saw it on Friday. We have gold up 1%. We have bonds up 0.25%. We have stocks up. Bonds, gold, and stocks up. Just everything just rising. It's amazing. So give Ben Bernanke some credit, forcing people into risky assets, and then other assets rising as well, because there's just so much money sloshing around out there. So anyway, from a short-term perspective, again, I am looking for a pullback here. Again, it's not the market is just so mundane. If you're trading out of the money options, you're going to have a tough time making money in this market. But if you can get particular stocks, if you think, for instance, Goldman Sachs, I put a private Twitter feed last week at 64 cents. Those went to $4. And then ultimately, I think $5.50. So this is a big gain. So if you can get a stock, for instance, look at MasterCard. Look at the reversal we had with MasterCard today, hitting new all-time highs. And then look at this pullback to fill the gap up we had. Something like, then if you're trading for downside, those are the trades you have intraday, 1-2 day trade, maybe before they resume their trend to the upside. For instance, Yahoo, which was doing so well, just about all-time highs again today, pulled back, and then look at this support line here, 38.64 level. I wasn't the only one looking at it, and see this consolidation. Looks like Yahoo's going to head to the upside, but was a great trade. The 38.50 weekly calls went from 30 cents to 48 cents, 60-70% move to the upside on those puts once we saw that move down to the 38.55 level. But if you look from a long-term perspective for Yahoo, it's had that great move to the upside, consolidation here. So this is really not an option trade you want to do. And you don't want to be buying the puts and holding on to them. You want to trade for a pullback, which we got, and then let it go and either buy the calls or just let it ride as Yahoo and Marissa Mayer get high, all-time highs. It was a great piece. I think it was in Investors. No, I don't know if it wasn't in Barron's. Anyway, talking about Marissa Mayer, concerned more about her own personal reputation, the reputation of the company, than actual, revenue, things that matter for most corporations. It's kind of like, oh, does my hair look nice? And sure enough, when she got on for an interview, the hair looked nice and the stock spiked. Anyway, I'm just putting into perspective the mentality of investors out there today. It's like, oh, well, Yahoo lost 5 cents a share last quarter, but Marissa Mayer's hair was beautifully done, and she just looks so pretty up there. I just had to buy the stock. That's the market we're in right now. And so if you're looking for a company to invest in, make sure the CEO's hair is well in place, and she looks rather dapper. Anyway, Yahoo, I just wanted to point that out. And then MasterCard, we can also look at Visa. Visa's just off all-time highs, but again, a consolidation pattern. The $200 level looks like a solid base here, and that we're going to make new all-time highs before the end of the year is out. How about Google? Google hit new all-time highs today, pulled back off those highs. So there's 1,082 and change, something like that. You see it bouncing along this trend line. We could possibly get a bounce along that. It would bring us to about $1,040. The long-term perspective, though, just eking more gains out. It looks like it's going to hit $1,100. And you can see another consolidating pattern here. And I was talking about this in the early summer of this year, talking about Google making new all-time highs, and just look at it go. The chart looks beautiful here, and all of these lines, say for this orange one, are long-term lines for Google. And Apple's been doing well. Apple made that beautiful double W bottom in the summer, breaking out to new all-time highs. Consolidation. Okay, we had a consolidation here. You can almost emit this fall, but you can just see beautiful bull flag, possible bull flag, and then we're going to continue up over $600 a share. All right, UPB here from OptionMillionaires.com. It is now Tuesday, December 10th, 2013. The market looks to continue to melt higher. Volatility is being sold. We have the market just kind of on cruise control. All right, I'll see you in the chat room and at private Twitter and stock twits. UPB. Everyone have a great trading day. Goodbye.